Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily NVIDIA report for Thursday, July 31st, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. Bullish continuation. I'm actually going to start with the daily chart right now and just show that we pushed through the 177.56 channel top. And by the way, this is the same structure on the daily chart that we find on the weekly chart at 177.41, which is this level here. So I'm going to go back to the daily chart and just, this obviously shows the settlement above it on an intra-week basis. Is this actionable? I mentioned yesterday that it is on a 3 to 5 day basis, but I also want to caution you that the rubber band is stretching, if you will. It is not yet snapped. I mean, I know we're above the 1% threshold by a hair. Yesterday's settlement was 179.27. 179.18 is the 1% threshold beyond 177.41. That is a threshold that I like to use on longer term line studies for what I would call a buy signal clarity. More of a reliable buy signal. And for instance, if we were to close Friday tomorrow at 177.45, it would be too close to call. But 179.18 does the trick with a settlement tomorrow at that point. But until then, the rubber band is stretching, and significantly right now. And there's nothing to say that you can't play this on an intra-week basis, ever so cautiously, because if we fall back today and close below 177.56, and let's just make it 177.41, the same structure on the weekly chart, we may have a good high for the week. And I think the odds then favor a settlement tomorrow, Friday, below the 179.18 point and perhaps below 177.41. As I say that, I just want you to know that in terms of reversing momentum into next week, that comes with a settlement today below 175.63. So I don't mean to confuse the issue, but I was talking to those of you who may be short right now and you're looking for some indication that that it's worth holding on to through the rest of the week. And if we close today below 175.63, the answer is yes, because I think within 3 to 5 days we fall back into this 166.38 to 169.15 area where we could bottom out through next week, round back up into the upper 170s again. We could trade inside this zone for a week or two, but also keep in mind there's different time frames, right? So I like to break it down because I think that's what is the reality of any market. Is you've got short term versus near term versus midterm versus long term, and they all can act in alignment with each other and sometimes in opposition to one another.
If you're finding value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence. You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and NVIDIA, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Try it all free for 5 days. Cancel at any time.
And so right now we have a channel top that may well contain buying through the rest of the third quarter and into the fourth, and below which we can over the next month or two fall back into the upper 140s. And if we can close, for instance, below the 166.38 to 169.15 area, that should result in the mid 160s, or 150s rather, 156.26. So I'm kind of going through the stair-step approach. All of these are meaningful levels, very well suited for those of you who are day traders, 3 to 5 day swing traders, and 2 to 3 week swing traders. But if we're looking at the big picture, and I think it's important, this is an area that's being tested and does allow now bearish rotation back into the upper 140s perhaps within a couple of months, 2 to 3 months, I would say. Do I expect it? That is the other question. Do I actually expect 149.76? I don't expect it. There are conditions in which you might expect it. And in fact, I would say at this point in time, I would clearly expect it if we broke 156.26. But we have these little levels on the way down. So for those of you who are day trading, you can buy 175.63, and I was going to say sell 177.41, but we're actually above 177.41. So let me jump to the daily chart and just talk about this channel top at 183.38. If you can, I'm talking to day traders and a 3 to 5 day, 2 to 3 day swing traders. You can buy 177.41, 177.56. And I'm not talking to 2 to 3 week swing traders. I think that is a more reliable buy opportunity if we close tomorrow again at or above 179.18, as I've already discussed. But you can trade however you like, and if you're a more aggressive trader, we are above this channel top on the daily chart. And if you're antsy to go long or exit a short position, I don't have any problem with that. You could buy into a portion of a longer term long position right now above the 177.41 level. But over the next 3 to 5 days, 186.39 in reach. Today we could see 183.38. And so this covers kind of our upside resistance. 183.38 can contain intraday buying pressures, possibly for the day itself. If we push through 183.38, we could see 186.39 on an intraday basis. That would be a significant rally. I don't expect that. I think 183.38 could be it for the day. But yes, if we close above 183.38, 186.39 is likely tomorrow. So this is our 3 to 5 day set up. In terms of the long term, though, in terms of the big picture, it really is a settlement tomorrow at 179.18 or higher that carries with it a long-term buy signal. And so if you bought some during the week above the 177.56 formation, you can buy the rest tomorrow afternoon if it's clear with minutes to go that we are definitely going to close at or above 179.18. I think that covers the upside pretty well. Now for the downside, if you are short the market presently, and you may be, you really do want to see this market ease back, close today below 177.56. That would be a buy signal failure on the daily chart. Once again, this is the exact same structure on the daily chart that we find on the weekly chart at 177.41. So 177.56, if just closing below 177.56, I think is signal enough that if you went long on Wednesday afternoon, you should probably exit that long position, because that buy signal failure does carry with it a downside that could, over the next, I'm just going to point to this chart, over the next week or two yield 166.38, and over the next 2 to 3 to 5 weeks, 156.26. And as I said earlier, 149.76 over the next couple of months. We could bottom out at each of these for a week or more on the way down. That's why I say 149.76 is a possible 2 to 3 month target below 177.41. Let me go to this chart real quick. 175.63 is a channel bottom that we did violate about a week and a half ago, but didn't close below. If we did close below it, I remember mentioning at the time it was too close to call, and we opened above it clearly the next day, and we've been rallying really ever since. 175.63 is a support level. I have it as a session containment, not so much because I want to encourage aggressive buying here, although I think day traders could certainly buy 175.63. It's just that if we close below 175.63, we also close below yesterday's 176.04 low, and I think that does aggressively pivot the market south into tomorrow, Friday, and into next week. In other words, if you've yet to go short in this zone on strength, you may consider playing the short side then with a mere settlement today, Thursday, below 175.63, because then chances are pretty good that we'll fall into that mid to upper 160s area over the next 2 to 3 to 5 days. And so there you have it. And these levels, each of them, can contain weekly selling pressures on the way down, well suited for 1 to 2 week swing traders, the 166.38 to 169.15 area, back up into the upper 170s. If we close below 166.38, we have a 1 to 2 week sell signal down to 156.26. This area may contain actually monthly selling pressures, and we can round up within 2 to 3 to 5 weeks into the upper 170s again, so forth and so on, potentially all the way back into the upper 140s, where we find meaningful support able to contain monthly, if not quarterly, selling pressures. On Tuesday, wickedstocks.com put out a stock pick on Wayfair Incorporated, the successful online retailer. You can see that by going to wickedstocks.com and taking advantage of our 5-day free trial, where you'll also see other recent stock picks that have yet to activate but are still very close and pending. You'll also see our daily Triple Q and our daily SPY analysis, our weekly Apple stock, weekly S&P 500, and weekly NASDAQ 100 analysis. So do yourself a favor, check out wickedstocks.com and take advantage of that 5-day free trial. I will, of course, be back tomorrow with Friday's NVIDIA report, and you have a great day.